Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel for another Street Fighter Duel video, and as it has now reset, we are going to go in and take a look at SHADALOO City and SHADALOO City even, and talk about kind of how this mode works and the best way for you to tackle it. So you've obviously got these grid based patterns that you can move through. If you notice, the only available squares are the ones that are directly attached to the tile that you're currently on, right? So if I move left to Evil Ryu, that means I can only then take either Chun-Li or the gold card in the middle. If I want to fight Dudley, I'm going to have to take this Agent HQ card, okay? Now, I don't need the Agent HQ card, so I'm probably going to go and actually take on Evil Ryu, although, I mean, I am kind of swaying towards going for Dudley because he's a harder character, and sometimes with harder characters, you've got a better chance of getting drops. So, while normally I would probably go for Evil Ryu, I think for the sake of the video I'm going to go after Dudley, okay? So first of all, move over to here. Depending on your level in the game, these characters might actually be no use to you, okay? However, you can see on this one I've actually got Fashion Sakura, so as she's available to purchase in the shop, you might want to know what she's like, so we purchase her, and I can use her because they're matched to the lowest level of my characters. So what I'll do is I'll use Fashion Sakura, bring her in, okay, and that's going to give me a little bit of insight on what she's like, okay, whether or not I'm potentially going to think about maybe purchasing her from the mall, okay. So while I normally don't use these characters, for the sake of this video, I think what I'll do is I'll actually use these characters. Okay, so everything's changed quite a bit since I first done this, so my team is going to need to get changed here vastly. So what I'm going to do is throw Jury up here, we will take Bison, he goes in the front, we're going to take Evil Ryu, he'll go in the middle. For the sake of the video, we're going to go and find the character that we're borrowing. She should be here somewhere. Sakura, where are you? She's actually not matched to the lowest level of my characters. That was my mistake. She's 131, so she's still usable. So what I'll do is we'll throw her here onto the back, so I can kind of get an indication of what she's going to be like for me if I was to use a character like this. She does work for any faction as well, so what I can do right now is I can just fire on another electric type character. So what we'll do is we'll throw you up here, and we will put Chun-Li in here. So that's me, got my setup. Electric. Well, see, that's kind of difficult. Master factions can be used to activate faction bonuses for any faction aside from the internal faction. So I'm not quite sure how that's not working, to be completely honest, because I do have 2 lightnings on here. So if she's going to work for any faction, she should technically give me a lightning. So maybe if I move her up to here and move her here. No, she still doesn't. Strange. Okay, well, I'm not entirely sure how that works, but I'm not activating all my bonuses because just to show you, if I drop her out and put him in, for example, you'll notice that up here I get 3 yellows and 2 purples, and if I put her back in, I actually lose one of them. It's not a big deal for this, so I'm probably still going to use her because I want to see what she does. In this combo, she will AoE single, so she's not really providing any support, but we'll see how she does, right? So this will be quick and easy, right? I don't even know if she'll get tagged in, to be completely honest, because I got a funny feeling as soon as someone AoEs this, it's over. Not quite, but was that Sakura? Was that Sakura? It was Sakura. Hey, she's done an uppercut. Whoa, she got involved. It's far too early for me to tell if I would actually want to pick her up or not. I don't know. They don't function the way I thought they functioned, so it's kind of putting me off, to be completely honest. So what we'll do is we'll go here. I really don't need any of you guys at all, so we'll just take poison. I mean, why not? Just take poison. I'm not going to use her. Okay, so now I need to actually start focusing on what I'm going to do to get as many chests as possible. So I'm now going to take the middle aisle, because that will allow me to get Dudley up at the top. I am going to drop her out of there because she is not functioning how I wanted her to, and I will put Eddie Honda up here, and you can go to here. There we go, bang. So my team should speed up a little bit now because I've got a bit more damage going on. We've got the bonuses from the entire faction, and yeah, I think we pretty much kill them in a few seconds. Yeah, there we go. So that's us kind of starting to move along. these here, right, okay, this bit's quite important. Depending on the strength of your team, you might have to rely on these quite a bit, okay? Now, the first one I selected, I can't even remember what I chose, right? But I tend to like things like crit damage, things like heals, things like speed, that type of stuff. So what I'm going to do on this one is I think I'm going to use lifesteal because, no, actually I won't, I'll use stun, right? Now, I'll use lifesteal. Because if I do happen to get a little bit of damage, I'm going to get it back via lifesteal, okay? Now, you've got the recovery here. I don't need that. I don't need that, so we're going after Dudley, right? Go after Dudley, and then I think after that we'll come back down and we'll go for Guile. And that's allowing me to kind of pick up as many of these chests as possible, because obviously if you want to maximise your rewards from this, you want to aim for chests, right? So don't go for heals, don't go for characters if you don't need them, okay? I'm kind of regretting my decision to do that at the start, but you know what? It was for the sake of showing you guys kind of how these things work. So fill your super gauge faster, which is good. More supers is always going to be a good thing. So we'll carry on through here. And obviously these stages as well, they don't just give you drops, they give you the medals, and the medals can be used to exchange for rare characters. You can use them to pick up materials that will help you level and stuff like that. So it's definitely in your interests to aim to get these chests from fights more than it is to pick up needless things like characters that you're not going to use unless you don't have a strong roster. If you don't have a strong roster, then maybe you have to prioritise them. It really depends on what your game's looking like. Fighters in the middle anchor positions gain 5% attack. We'll go with that one. Right, that's fine. So we'll go down here. We will go for Guy. It's fine. Bang. So again, this should be nice and quick. I don't think I'm going to do... Well, I am going to do the entire thing, right? But I don't think I'm going to do it on video because it would be a very long video. I mean, I'm tempted to, but like half of you will just tune out by the time we get there anyway. So what I might actually do is I might pause it and I'll just, when I get to the end, I'll start up again to show you what the bosses look like. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. What I'll do is I'll pause it, I'll come back and I'll show you what each of the bosses look like at the end of the 3 stages, then that way you can kind of see what you're taking on. I'll show you the boosts that I've picked up along the way so that you can see yourselves kind of how things look, okay? So I'll be back in a second and you can kind of see what it looks like towards more of the end game in here, okay? Right, so we're about to tackle the boss number 1 on stage 1 or floor 1, okay? I think this always happens before you take on the bosses. We'll see that in the subsequent levels, but you've got these 2 pickups before you fight. You've got recovery, which will give 50% to all your surviving fighters when eaten. However, if you have got someone who is downed along the way, you can use this and it will revive a random character. Now that can be a bit difficult if you've maybe lost more than 1 character in battle because you don't know who it will revive, but if you've only lost 1 character, then you can take this, okay? But if you don't have anyone that's dead, if you take this, it will give you a full HP to whoever you have that has the lowest level of HP within your entire squad. So this is going to take on the first boss. I believe this is not scaled to my level. It'll probably get harder as time passes on. If it's anything like other games I've played, these challenges tend to get a little bit harder over time. So depending on how many times you've beaten it, that is. So I think it will probably happen like that. It will probably scale with the number of runs that you've done. But that is boss number 1 defeated. I'll come back when we're going to fight boss number 2, and then finally you can see, I think it's like Mecha Bison or something, you can see boss number 3. So jumping back in here on floor 2, just really to show you the mystery shop. Now the mystery shop is basically, you've got to land on the tile, okay? You've got to land on the tile and you can purchase gear at a massively reduced rate, okay? Now not only can you get, well, not necessarily a massively reduced rate, but very rare gear, shall we say. The thing is, a lot of people will be, how do I put this, hesitant to use their currency to buy gear. What I'll say to you is, gear, especially as you progress into the game, makes a massive difference, right? You're going to need gear, you're going to need good gear. In my opinion, if the gear's good enough, then I definitely think you could justify a purchase. I'm not entirely sure how many diamonds I have right now. I've got enough, right? So I'm actually going to pick up a piece of gear in here, right? I'm going to pick up the gloves because I need my Evil Ryu to have better gloves, right? And I'm hoping that because these are tied to a faction, I'm hoping that it is his faction, his typing, okay? So I am going to purchase this because, again, it's going to give me a lot more damage on my Mad Ryu character. So this is the one I'm purchasing. Power type, I think we're going to be okay here. I can have it on Ryu, I can even put it on Bison if I need to, so I think this is definitely the one I'm going to go for. And it's a wind type. That's not what I wanted. I didn't want it to be a wind type. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can still put it on Ryu, it'll still be half decent on Ryu, it'll just not be as good as it could have been on Ryu. So that's the risk you take when you're purchasing this type of gear. But however, I do, depending on your stash, I do recommend potentially doing it because you will get decent boosts to your character with gear like this. So really quickly to show you how much of an impact that can actually have. Currently he has a set of Tiger gloves, they're A rank, they're max. It's giving him an extra 170 attack, which is boosting it by 68. It's giving him 14 defense, and it's giving him a very slight amount of damage reduction. So I'm going to change that now to the new piece of gear that we just picked up, which is SS rank. Put that on there, let's see what that does for him. It gives him 1,650 additional attack, gives him an extra 150 defense, 20% pressure and 8% damage reduction. Now if I had this on a wind character, or if this was an electric type character piece, it would work better on Ryu, okay? But even as it is just now, you can see yourself that that's a massive, massive improvement to his stats just by that one piece of gear. So guys, don't sleep on gear. I'll probably talk about this in its own video, but honestly, do not sleep on gear. So this is the boss at the end of stage 2 or floor 2. It's M. Bison Visage. There's another version of Bison we fight at the end of the next one, but you can see here that the level's obviously taking quite a bit of a jump. When I said before that it obviously doesn't scale with your level, I was wrong. Like, as you progress through it scales with your level and probably exceeds your level, that we might find out when we get later on to the final boss. But you can see here, here's your stage rewards. You're also getting these things, the Valor medals, which is kind of like a kind of battle pass type thing where you can purchase, but you'll get rewards along the way for beating these guys at the end of each stage. So I think this one should be easy enough, but what I will say is these guys, there's a little bit of a difficulty spike going on with these guys, to be honest. They can hit you a little bit harder than you would maybe expect, you know. So did I lose a character in that fight? I think I actually might have. I think, to be honest, I think in that last battle I may well have lost my healing character. If I had realised that before I came into this stage, I would have selected the revive, which would have been nice. It would have been nice, not going to lie. But for now, I think what we'll do is we'll go with Honda. So we'll put Honda in there, and I will probably just throw Zangief up here. Give me some extra stats. I think this fight should still go okay, despite the fact that I don't have my healer, buffer, Guardian type character sitting in the back, but this boss can hit quite hard, right? So again, don't be deceived thinking the stage was quite easy to get here. The boss has these moves where it can like stun you, and it can even confuse you. I think it's the next one possibly that confuses you, but there is a boss that can confuse you, and basically your own characters will start attacking their teammates, and for a period of time, your own characters will attack your confused teammates. So you can end up losing a character simply because Bison has been an ass and decided to confuse them. So we'll be back before the next one. Hopefully I don't lose anyone along the way, and then I can revive my healer buffer and be back to kind of where I wanted to be. Okay, so I've probably jumped back a little bit earlier than expected. This is something that I hadn't seen. This didn't happen yesterday. So when I've got to the end of this stage, there is 2 portals. We've got the purple portal and we have got the, call it gold portal, right? So clicking the purple portal, you can see this will just take you on to floor number 3. However, if we click this floor, while the enemies ahead seem to be even stronger, the rewards are also much more generous. So you kind of, at this point, fall into the kind of question you've got to ask yourself: have you got what it takes to go through the harder stage? Now, if I had known about this beforehand, if I had known that it existed and I could have thought ahead, I would maybe have built my equipment out, my pickups a little bit differently. I feel like maybe I've got a lot of lifesteal. I've not got much in the way of, where is it? There's a specific one I'm looking for. Haste. If I had a couple of hastes, I'd maybe be a little bit more confident about doing it. But as it stands, I think I've only got one haste. So, I mean, the safe thing for me to do would be to take the normal stage. But I feel like because I'm recording a video, I should probably jump into the hard stage and see what it's like. But the thing is, there's no going back. So you'll either see me at the boss on the hard stage and I'll have been brave, or you'll see me at the boss on the standard stage and I'll be a chicken. But either way, I'll be back in a minute with that decision. So I decided to be a chicken. Right, the reason I did this is because the difficulty of these characters was already scaling quite high, right? And, you know, I thought to myself, well, if the next stage is going to be, if this bonus stage thing is going to be a lot more difficult, then maybe I'm making a mistake by going in there. When this resets, if I don't get offered that again, I'm probably going to feel a little bit disappointed because maybe it's a rare thing. I've got no idea at this stage. But let's talk about stage number 3. So in stage number 3, floor number 3, you do have a legendary who shows up. This one is currently not in the game. Hopefully he gets added soon, as I love Akuma, he's a great character. But when you go through stages, when you beat bosses, you'll do these pickups, and these pickups, as you get them, you'll upgrade your legend, and the bonus that you get from your legend will increase ever more. So like, winning battles, your pickups are going to get better, stronger, and you are going to find it easier to beat these stages. So let's crack on, get to that boss, and we'll wrap up this longer than I wanted it to be video. So we're all healed up going into the final battle against Bison. I'll show you the boosts that I've got. I picked up this one at the end there that might actually make this fight go a lot quicker. Enemies are executed when they fall below 15% HP, so we don't even need to kill them, we just need to get them right down low. You can see I've got plenty of good boosts here that have been helping my damage along the way. I think the biggest asset that I've used has been lifesteal. I did mention at the start that I think lifesteal is a really good pickup. If you get that along with some damage boosting properties, you can quite regularly see your characters just peaking back at full HP. So we're going into this one pretty strong. We technically are weaker than Bison, but I don't think it should matter, and I think we should actually walk away with the W here. This one, however, it's a little more annoying because this is the one I mentioned that he can kind of mess with your team and confuse them and all that jazz, right? So team setup, got my healer buffer sitting at the back. Yeah, let's go. Let's do this. Let's see what happens. I think again we should be good here though. He does take a lot more time to kind of beat down, and he will do these stupid things at the top that do a lot of damage and can cripple you very quickly. In fact, he's already killed Evil Ryu, so that's not good. That is not good at all. But I think, hopefully, the rest of my team should have this. However, he has now taken out my healer stroke buffer, so I might need to actually be one of those people that use one of those little crystals that I have that allows me to heal my characters back up. Or, I mean, alternatively, I could just use a different lineup. But you can see Bison's getting himself back up to full HP because he obviously has got all that lifesteal. And that 15% curse actually came in absolutely clutch there, getting the kill. Meaning I didn't need to do anything, didn't need to use any crystals. Bison carried hard. And yeah, we got the W. So on this run, I actually earned less of these tokens than last time. Unless I get some more out of this box. I think I might actually. No, we don't get any more out of this box. So I actually earned less of the SHADALOO tokens or the city tips tokens than I earned the last time because I didn't go for as many stages on the way, because for the purposes of this video early on I wanted to show you a couple of things. So basically, if you want to kind of max out this as quickly as possible to try and pick up stuff from in here, then don't be like me, don't do that. Go for actual fights and you will fill your coffers up rather quickly and you can get yourself some nice stuff from the shop. So that is the, what is that, SHADALOO City, is that what they call it? Aye, SHADALOO City. That is SHADALOO City, that's how it works. Every, 2 days it comes back, challenge it again. Next time, I think I'll be brave and I'll go for the harder stage. Technically, it will be as hard as it was today because it scales for you, so probably should have tried it, to be honest. But that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I will be back with more Street Fighter Duel videos very, very soon. Peace.